Welcome to Fournier Business Strategies, your source for transformational growth. I focus on organizational quality, human resources, and profitability. I understand that each employee is wired differently. I also understand that employees internalize and act on information differently. Consider the possibilities and transform your thinking. This featured topic is entitled Leadership: 5 Qualities for Success. Hello and welcome to Fournier Strategies. I'm Paul Fournier. Our topic is leadership: 5 qualities for success. Today's workforce is more diverse, educated, and informed than ever before. They understand the notion of effective leadership. They expect a quality work environment, a team atmosphere, fair accountability, and fair compensation. Merriam-Webster defines leadership as the ability to guide, direct, or influence people. I see all kinds of leaders. Some are more successful than others. Some have a transformational approach, while others demonstrate a more dictatorial style. Leadership is a balance. A leader requires the respect of others to be considered a leader. Leaders are not entitled to respect, rather, it's earned. Leaders establish perception. Leadership styles, which are constantly changing, send mixed messages. Leadership isn't about extremes, it's about consistency. Sometimes people confuse leadership with education. Education provides one with more tools and perspective, but not necessarily judgment or leadership skills. The recipe for leadership is consistent simplicity. Now, these following 5 attributes offer a solid foundation for quality leadership. The first is company values. Leaders who consistently follow the company mission, vision, and core values send a message of predictable behavior to employees and customers. When employees and customers observe leaders straying from the mission, vision, and core values, they develop doubt and become skeptical. Too many skeptics invite scrutiny and cultural shifts within the company. These cultural shifts are transmitted to customers, suppliers, and competitors. Experienced team members begin to question the leadership skills of the individual and the entire management team. This hampers the ability of the company to achieve its strategy and objectives. Challenges to core values eventually cascade down to every level of the company. We usually observe it in the form of productivity losses, employee turnover, and diminished sales revenue. Pursuing new innovation and opportunities allow enterprises to grow and expand. Wise leaders incorporate value statements and consistent processes into every new opportunity. This communicates one message to gain commitment and positive perception. Another attribute is listening. In my view, effective leaders are great listeners. They seek to understand so they can assess and guide. Leaders should encourage others to share in a constructive process. Listening invites collaboration and commitment, which supports a strong culture. Leaders making impulsive decisions built on emotion, speculation, and inaccurate facts sometimes lead entire organizations off course. Effective leaders who gather facts and opinions from others tend to make more informed decisions. Employees want to contribute and be heard. Subordinates want to be included in the contribution process and success of the organization. Leaders advocate listening, develop a more strategic enterprise. It's difficult to operate a quality enterprise without a team. Leaders need the support and advice of others. And creating an environment where listening is viewed as an important process develops confidence and self-management amongst the team members. An additional component of a great leader is risk. Quality leaders just don't put enterprises or employees at excessive risk. Leaders should assess risk on a constant basis, understanding there's always some level of market risk. Leaders don't bet on maybes. They plan for a predictable outcome. But understand, people by nature are not risk takers. Leaders tend to be greater risk takers, though. When a leader makes decisions threatening business perpetuity or job loss, employees become wary and threatened. When the organization's intellectual capital begins to question leadership skills, perception diminishes. Now, while change is inevitable, excessive risk can damage the respect of both employees and customers. Customers become dubious of suppliers with ineffective leaders. When quality products, supply chain, and service are interrupted, customers seek other suppliers. Quality customers have a very limited tolerance for dysfunction. Leadership not understanding the boundaries or constraints of internal initiatives and projects is a source of risk. A very relevant example we've seen is in the installation and application of some ERP systems. That's enterprise resource planning. Leaders not understanding the expectations and requirements of the system create enormous dysfunction within the organization. Effective planning is a process to mitigate risk. Enterprises with well-defined strategies and operating plans tend to establish a risk threshold. That is, they decide what's acceptable as far as risk and what is not. Included in this risk threshold is customer satisfaction. Leaders who leap first and later try to figure out solutions send a clear message to subordinates and customers about their leadership skills. Fair accountability is another important attribute. Fair accountability is a concept stating management and employees should be held to fair and equal standards. We have conducted a large number of 360-degree enterprise assessments. One of the most common challenges to leadership from the employee's view is unequal accountability. Leadership, as I noticed earlier, is ability to guide, direct, and influence people. Without well-defined expectations, a leader is communicating they lack consistent standards. The performance bar is vague and sometimes misunderstood. How does a leader effectively influence others when clear expectations are absent? Leaders are responsible for their actions and behaviors. Not every initiative or strategy is going to be perfect. And when something is not right, take responsibility, then dig in to succeed. Legacy or old relationships tend to cloud the practice of fair accountability. Tenured employees with less than acceptable performance or habits cannot be overlooked. Effective leaders understand tenure is not an entitlement for performance. All people have some form of challenge. Some have no solutions. Leadership has a human component if you want to sleep at night. The human component of leadership should have a moderate level of empathy for those with personal and career challenges. And those with challenges should have an action plan with a completion date to correct those deficiencies. And finally, culture is everything. Culture defines the human capital of the organization. It's the bedrock for sales revenue and earnings. Continuous people improvement sparks critical thinking and innovation. Employee perception translates into customer perception and satisfaction. Leaders developing a positive culture can feel it. Take the time to really observe an employee work area or production plant. Observe the behavior of management and employees. If employees are smiling, productive, engaged, chances are your culture's on the right track. If it's a sweatshop and activity based, maybe it's time to understand why. Effective leaders measure and manage the pulse of their company culture. They never assume it's perfect. Cultures change as companies grow. Some cultures develop, and it's important for leaders to recognize the boundaries of their cultures. You know your business. Consider whether you need to redirect your efforts to a new approach or if what you're doing now is bringing you success and staying true to your company culture. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for watching. If you appreciate my content, please consider becoming a Premier subscriber at fournierstrategies.com.